Well, this story almost slipped past me. I had no idea Congress voted to defund labs in China, Russia, and Iran. The only way I heard about it was from Carl Jackson, a conservative radio talk show host filling in for the Mike Gallagher show.
Here's the headline. Defunding Wuhan. Congress quietly bans federal funds from labs in China, Russia, and Iran. Guys, the greatest threat that we saw to our civil liberties has happened or occurred over the last 18 months or so. And Democrats are trying their best to run from it. So here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do today. I want to remind you of everything the Democrat Party did to try and destroy your life. The greatest threat to our civil liberties that we've seen, at least in my lifetime. That's coming up next on the Carl Jackson Show podcast.
I did some searching, though, and I did find an article about it, but it sure wasn't a main headline. So this article on NWO Report says, Defunding Wuhan. Congress quietly bans federal funds from labs in China, Russia, and Iran. The vote is the latest action to acknowledge that theory that COVID-19 leaked from a Wuhan research lab. Once censored as preposterous by news organizations and social media giants, it's viable enough for the government to vote with its pocketbook. It goes on to say that while U.S. intelligence has been unable in 2 years to determine for sure if COVID-19 leaked from a Chinese lab, Congress has decided it no longer wants to take the risk of funding medical research at labs controlled by Beijing or other American adversaries. With little fanfare and in bipartisan fashion, House appropriators quietly amended the 2023 federal budget for health and science agencies on Thursday to ban funding to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which the U.S. intelligence fears may have been the point of origin for the coronavirus pandemic and other labs like it. None of the funds made available by the act may be made available to the Wuhan Institute of Virology or any other laboratory located in a country determined by the Secretary of State to be a foreign adversary, including China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, reads the amendment approved by the House Appropriations Committee. Very interesting. And in case you don't remember how the mainstream media berated President Trump for considering the possibility of a lab leak, just take a look at this.
The best evidence suggests that the kind of bat from which this virus jumped to humans wasn't even present there.
But you know the worst of all, whether it came from the lab or came from the bats it all came from China.
Because we don't know where the novel coronavirus came from yet, the conspiracy theories fill the void.
I'm telling you, the Chi-Coms are trying to weaponize this thing.
Conservative talk show host Rush Limbaugh with zero proof, suggesting a Chinese bioweapon lab is to blame.
It's this question about the Wuhan lab. We know that it's been debunked.
Those same agencies now have been tapped with investigating one of Trump world's most favorite conspiracy theories.
This week, Donald Trump is still pushing the debunked bunkum, despite his own intelligence community's findings that is simply not true.
And there is simply no reason to believe that is the case. There is no empirical evidence to verify that.
Coming up with a conspiracy theory to try and foment xenophobia with respect to the Chinese has just as much factual support as taking Clorox.
He can't just sit back and let the doctors and the scientists do their jobs. He's got to chime in.
He may pick up the conspiracy theory that this was some weapon.
People don't keep bats in captivity. Complete baloney.
We don't need to invoke conspiracy theories. This is just another example of the president trying to change the narrative from his own failings.
The problem for President Trump is that he's running for re-election, is looking for ways to deflect blame for the performance of the administration.
I don't know about you, but I think Congress deciding to defund the Wuhan laboratory is huge news. And I just love the way it got swept under the rug. Kudos to Carl Jackson, an up-and-coming conservative radio talk show host, for bringing this to everyone's attention. If you like this video, give it a like, consider subscribing for more news and reviews, and God bless.